Hey everybody, I hope you're doing well. I'm sitting here in bed and Elliot's taking a little nap right next to me. Everyone else is gone. Roman took my mom on a bit of a, I guess like Berlin drive kind of thing, because we realized we've been home from the hospital for about 2 weeks and my mom hasn't really seen anything of Berlin, and she was coming to help us and to be an extra set of hands and stuff for the big kids and for the baby and just all the stuff that's going on with having a new family member. But I mean, it is Berlin and the weather is really nice outside today, so I think we just felt like, why don't we get the kids out and get my mom out and just like go and do something. I'm staying home because because I'm right now attached to a breast pump all the time. So I didn't want to go out and risk like my supply going down or something, because I'm not able to pump at a certain time, and it's hard. It's hard for me to get out right now, which is not great for me because I got out pretty quickly with both Callum and Linnea and was able to just nurse them wherever we were, and it wasn't as complicated as it is with Elliot this third time around. And that actually makes me want to talk about something, because the day before yesterday, obviously I had a bit of an emotional breakdown, and I still get pretty weepy when I think about a lot of stuff that's in my head at the moment. I'll just put it to you this way. The day before yesterday was probably the hardest day that I've had since bringing Elliot home from the hospital. I fully expected to just have my hands full. I fully expected to feel kind of torn in different ways with having 3 kids and just the responsibility of being a mom to 3 kids. What I did not expect was just to have all of these nursing complications and just all these little things that have made it, well, impossible for me to get out and to do things which are good for me and my mental health, like being out and about and walking around and being active. And I've been cooped up inside, which has been hard, very, very hard for me. On top of just having this baby that has such a poor latch that makes it incredibly complicated to feed him and to nourish him. And I just kind of lost it. And I thought, do I want to put this on YouTube? Do I want the world to see how hard this has been for me? And I ultimately decided that it's what I've always promised from the beginning with this channel, and that if I'm going to put it out there, it's going to be real, it's going to be authentic, and it's going to be honest. And as much as I wish that motherhood was just amazing moments of happy tears in my eyes while looking at my baby in the hospital, and those quiet moments of pure peace and reflection and beauty, and motherhood is in fact those things, it's also incredibly taxing, and it's the most difficult emotional thing I've ever done in my life. And it's because I love my kids so much. And any mother out there, you know exactly the feeling that I'm talking about, that you love these little people so much that you would literally like throw yourself in front of a bus to save them. I mean, it's without question, it's without end, it's without fail. There are no limits to a mother's love for her children, and it begins way before you even meet that baby in the hospital. And I think for me, I've had a lot of, I've been processing, I think, a lot of what his birth has been for me. I don't feel sad in the slightest about having a C-section. The C-section and the surgery, that to me was the easy part. It's that to me has not been something that I feel has been particularly traumatic in any way. I found the C-section incredibly peaceful, and it was hard, but it was like I wasn't upset by it. But with that said, it was a change in what I had with Callum and Linnea. I always looked at his birth as, well, we just have to get him head down and then I can do the rest. And him flipping himself back up and the surprise of how his whole labor and delivery went, and the sheer surprise of being pregnant with him at all in the first place. It's been nothing but one surprise after the other, and I definitely find myself kind of like catching up afterwards going, okay, so this is going to be my new normal. Everything that you had thought before, erase it. This is my new normal. I guess like I expected the delivery to go a certain way, I just expected nursing to go a certain way. And we left the hospital and I felt so confident because my milk had come in. I just felt really happy that he was able to get colostrum the first few days, and then my milk came in, and I thought it's just smooth sailing from here on out, just like it was with Callum and Linnea. The two of them, they were both exclusively breastfed babies, and I was able to nurse them until they were 20 months old. And when I met with my midwife before having Elliot, when she came over and we discussed things, she was like, did you have any nursing complications? Nope. I had complications from lipedema and things, but in my pregnancy, which I had with him as well, but I didn't have any complications with nursing. And so I just sort of assumed that it was going to be the same this time around. And then he just wasn't gaining weight. And of course, something sits in your mind like, well, what have I done to not let my baby gain weight? Surely it's something that's wrong with me. Surely I've done something wrong and I'm a bad mom. So for him to not gain weight and to consistently not gain weight, and to gain like 5 grams over a few days or 25 grams over a few days, and it's like, what is going on? And then when the midwife was like, I think it's time to introduce some formula because we have to get him to gain weight, it was just like, why am I not good enough? What have I done to my son? And of course, just being worried at the same time that he's not gaining weight. So is he unhealthy? We are working on his latch and we're working on him getting better at breastfeeding, but it's still not at all to where it needs to be or to where it would need to be without any sort of supplementing with formula and pumped milk. I will feel so much better when I know that all of this is working and he's putting on weight and he's growing and he's doing what he needs to do. I have found that usually the days that the midwife comes are harder days emotionally, but that would make sense because we're also getting the not so great news that he hasn't gained weight since her last visit. I told my mom though that I'm forever grateful that, oh man, I am so grateful that Germany has this, and I'm so glad that I got a midwife, because a part of me thought, well, it's my 3rd time around, I won't possibly have any issues. Oh man, all it takes is a baby with a bad latch to just humble you, and it has humbled me in a way that, I mean, I didn't expect any surprises. I didn't expect any of this, but I'm so grateful that the news is coming from a midwife that I have an established relationship with, that comes with a loving heart and a passion for helping new mothers and infants, and just not only a wealth of knowledge and experience, but just the love and tenderness that I have always experienced with midwives here. And it is such a service to new moms, and I'm just glad that I'm glad that I knew after a few days of his birth that he wasn't gaining weight, and I'm so glad I didn't have to wait to go to a pediatrician's office or, God, even take him anywhere. I'm so glad that she has always come to our house, and when I've cried to her, she's been wonderful and supportive. And, just having that emotional support, and even though it's been hard, very emotionally hard, it has also been really important. So when I lost it the other night, I thought, I don't want to show this. I don't want to show that I'm crying. I don't want to show that I'm losing it. I want to appear like everything is great and together. And I see all these other moms on YouTube that just have everything together, and there's never any problem, and they're like they look perfect one day after having a baby, and they just you would never know that they had a baby because they're back to their pre-pregnancy size a week after delivering, and you know, they just don't seem to have any issues. But I know that's not true. I know that's not reality. And I know that there are a lot of women who watch my videos who are pregnant, or they're mothers themselves, or they want to have children someday. And I refuse to be somebody that just puts out, I'm sorry, but the BS of it all. And I felt like I know for a fact that I've had friends that have cried these same tears over similar issues, and I'm not going to hide that, because you know, that's part of it. That's motherhood. And he's starting to wake up, which is good, because we need to work on nursing. So that brings me to my next point, kind of what's happening with him. We bought this new bottle by Medela. It's called the Medela Calma, and it's like this whole system. This is an amazing bottle, by the way. My only complaint is that it's plastic. I wish that at least it were glass or something, because I just prefer glass. But I will say that this bottle was recommended by my midwife, because here's what's amazing about it. The other bottles that we have, the event bottles that came with my pump, the flow in the milk, even though it's a newborn flow, it comes easy. You don't have to work really hard to get milk out. And my goal with Elliot is that we will be able to exclusively breastfeed, hopefully within a few weeks. That's my goal. I'm working really hard with him on this. And so what my midwife suggested was getting this bottle, because the way the system works is that even if this bottle is just in your mouth, there is no milk coming whatsoever. And the only way any milk will come at all is if baby is properly sucking and using the proper sucking reflex. And that is what he is working on. That's the part that he struggles with, that he kind of fiddles around with it. And he can do it, but it's relatively weak. So he has to work on the same skills that he has to work on while nursing. He has to work on that with this bottle as well. And at first he didn't like it, because it wasn't as easy for him as with the other bottles. But I have noticed a bit of a difference. Even we got these yesterday, and I have noticed a difference with how he nurses, with how he actually nurses. He has a bit more longevity. This is, I think, an amazing, amazing bottle. So if you are a mom with a newborn, or if you're pregnant, I would fully recommend this Medela Calma, C-A-L-M-A. This is not sponsored or anything. Heck, I would be though, because I really, really love this. And I have definitely noticed, well, I'll just say it like this. I started to tear up when I gave him this bottle, because I could see how he was trying to get milk out of it, but he wasn't using the proper technique. And I could see the frustration, and I could see how he was just like moving it around his mouth, but not really getting what he needed. And it was like, oh my gosh, this is what he does when he nurses. And so it's been really amazing to actually see him work at it a little bit. And I get really proud of him when he actually gets milk out, because it's like, oh yeah, you're doing it. This is great. Good job, buddy. And I have noticed that he's had a bit more longevity while nursing from being trained a bit with this. So I actually need to get a bottle ready for him. I need to actually need to go warm up some breast milk for him. Oh, because he's waking up. Oh yeah, oh yeah. So I wanted to show you guys how this bottle works. This has breast milk in it. So you can see like nothing's coming out, like nothing is coming out, because he hasn't, yeah, you have to latch. He doesn't have a very good latch on it. There's nothing coming out. You have to work. See, there's nothing. Come on, you're getting closer. Yeah. Hold on. There we go. 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 And now it's coming out. Now the milk is coming out. Now that he's properly latched. And now it stopped. There you go. It only comes out when he's doing what he's supposed to do. And what's also good is it allows for like a bit of a natural pause, like babies do when they nurse. And it's a slower flow, so he has to work. You have to work at it. You have to work at it. He doesn't like this, by the way. This is not like a happy baby bottle, but it's really for the best. There we go. You can do it. Come on. That doesn't get the milk out. You're doing great. You're doing great. He's staring at his mama. You're doing great. Good job. You're doing great. You getting full? Okay. He's so sleepy. You did great.